Kay, I love your wealth word, happiness. Tell us
Yeah.
more about how you chose happiness as your wealth word.
You can't buy happiness, but if you really get down to it, happiness is at the root of everything. If you're not happy, you're not going to be healthy and you're not going to be wealthy either. Anger emotion type people, yeah, they're usually not really happy. They may have a lot of money and they may not be really happy. And if you're happy and healthy, it'll be easier for you to see the opportunities that are around you that may lead you to your next work opportunity, maybe a personal connection that you need to meet that will be a friendship or connection that lasts.
Now, you've moved around a bit. You've been
Yes.
around the country. Is happiness something you've always felt, or were you drawn to these places that you went, not only because of education and career, but with happiness?
It was very much always seeking happiness. Yes, it was the job. Yes, it was this. But I quickly knew when I was in a place that I will never be happy here. I mean, it wasn't a hard thing to see. I tell people all the time, I may not necessarily have, huge piles of money laid up, but man, I am rich in terms of the joy in my life, the joy in my friendships, the joy in my family, and the joy in friends who are family, and in my connection to nature. And so I look at all of that and I go, wow, I'm really, really happy and really, really lucky. Doesn't mean I don't work hard, but, hard work is necessary. When there's joy involved in that hard work, it makes it even sweeter.
Indeed. And as a doctor, most people immediately think the doctor equals wealth. And part of what you're doing as a doctor is actually a different fulfillment in that joy of
Yes,
helping people.
yes. And I will be the first to tell people, I know a lot of docs with whole piles of money who ended up ending their lives in misery. So money is not just all cracked up to be. I mean, it's necessary. We love to have flexibility. Love to have leeway to have wonderful experiences, and money can let you get some of those experiences. But if there's not happiness and joy and love that's associated with having that money, it's not worth it. There have been plenty of jobs that paid me a whole, could have paid me a whole bunch of money that I walked away from because I knew intuitively being here, being in this city, being in this hospital is not going to make you happy. So don't do it. And I just walk away and know, yeah, the opportunity that is right for you will come along, and it always has.
Now, you're a little bit more intuitive, your intuition, and other
Right.
people struggle with that intuition or finding their own mindfulness.
Right.
What kind of things do you tell people, or what would you advise somebody to get back into their own intuition? What do you use?
What I tell people is turn off the outside stimulus. Get off of social media, take your earbuds out, spend some time in silence. Learn who you are as a human being. Count your breaths, count your steps, anything that you can do to focus on your inner being, your inner world. Because I think that there's so many different ways that we can distract ourselves in this world that it's really important that you take time in silence, take time to do some kind of breath work, take time to do meditation work, and just it I call it time out of mind. Don't think. I mean, it's it with meditation, yeah, you learn that you're not your thoughts. You're not thought at all. You are a being. And I tell people, and this is kind of key, it sounds crazy to say this, you need to learn how to be a human being, not a human doing. And if you think about that, it sounds kind of corny at first. It's like, no, you just need to be and exist. All of us are born with intuition. We can all tap into it. And that is a huge part of my coaching process is getting people to learn, trust yourself, journey within. You don't have to learn or absorb everything from the latest influencer or this. You know what the truth is. And if you take time to decrease all of the external stimuli, you will learn who you are and what you are about. And that will guide your decision-making process and your priorities. But a lot of people are kind of scared to do that. But it's what you have to do is tune into yourself. Breath work, silence. For me, nature is it. If I can go and be immersed in a forest without my earbuds and listen to the birds, listen to everything around me, when you really get silent, I've heard insects landing on leaves. It is that quiet, and you can absorb the feeling of the forest. Probably one of the most amazing experiences, learning experiences that I had was the feel of the forest when they had gone in to do some routine work, cutting down trees that were dead or that were dangerous to the walking paths. I have never felt that feeling in a forest ever, but the feeling of anxiety and panic among the trees because yeah, trees are amazing beings. They know the sound of saws, guys. They know the sound of saws. The trees in that forest, this was a forest that I went into 3 or 4 times a week. I knew the feeling. I had never felt the trees in the forest be that way before. Yeah, that energy, it's out there, but you have to get quiet and be able to tap into the energy both with yourself, and then you will start to notice the energies of other people, of other areas, and realize that, this is truly a multisensory world that we live in. It's a beautiful world. But yeah, that energy is real and it's beautiful.
And I think it's understanding that it's a practice, that it's
Yeah.
not just something that you go, oh, I'm going to put my phone down for 10 minutes and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's really work to just tune everything out and just be.
Absolutely. And it is a practice. You're going to have days that you sit down to meditate and you get 2 minutes into it, and the monkey brain is what my teachers call it. The monkey brain is thinking about this, thinking about that, thinking about that. Oh, what about this? What about that? Oh, yeah, I was supposed to be meditating. Let me go back to that. It is a practice. Then you have days that you sit there and you open your eyes and you realize that you've been sitting for an hour and it's been like no time has passed. I've done that before. Usually I'm sitting under a tree when that happens. It's like amazing. But yeah, and it is a practice, but if it's a practice that you stick with, you will reap the benefits of it. It's just absolutely amazing.
You had something happen early in your career that
Yes.
really changed the way that you approached your career and your life. Can you tell us more about this?
Absolutely. It was when I was doing my fellowship training, which is specialty training specifically for anesthesia for brain and spinal surgery. I had the opportunity to interact with the Dalai Lama. It was, yes, it was never anything that was on my agenda to do, but it was the best thing that could have ever happened. He was in town for a lecture series at the main campus. We were at the medical center, but he was interested in the brain and how the brain functioned. And since I was doing the fellowship training, I was always there and I was always assigned the most difficult case. So the case that I was assigned to, and okay, I'm getting all of the feels up and down my back with this because it's just such an amazing experience. The case I was assigned to was the case that he was chosen to observe in. And this was your classic surgery room with a glass observation area situated above and to the side. So they could see in and see the sterile surgical environment. And they gave us about a time frame of when they kind of expected him to be in the area. They said, yeah, you won't talk to him because he's going to talk through his interpreter if he has questions and through the microphone, but he will be there. Well, I didn't have to have them tell me when he came because I felt it when he came into the surgical area. I didn't have to see him come through the door. I didn't have to see him come through the outer door because I could feel the wave of love and positivity that came in front of him like a wave. This was through doors. No one told me anything, but I could feel his presence. And yeah, I know why it's called presence in all caps, because he had that. And you could feel his presence coming up the hall. I knew when he went into the observation area, and sure enough, I looked and I saw his enormous black suited guards and this beatific, smiling man in his glasses and his saffron and red robes. I just knew that everything was just going to be okay. The surgery went great. He had no specific questions. He stayed through a large portion of it, not the whole time, but the peace and love and tranquility of his presence translated into surgery that went really well. Everyone was happy. Everyone did their best job. Every aspect of it went well. And that was my introduction to the power of presence. And I read a lot more about the Dalai Lama. And I also have a saying that is on my desk to this day, and I can see it at the corner of my desk. And it's about not giving up and having heart. And it talks about how we have the best, we have, so much emphasis in this country is on the brain. He's like, the heart is actually a more apt thing to focus on, heart and compassion and never giving up. And just it is a saying that I look at on my desk all of the time and I keep with me because it was such an impactful experience and it really changed the way I relate it to pretty much everybody. And it enhanced my practice. And it's something that I've carried with me in my entire being ever since.
That's an incredible story. How
Yes.
exciting.
Yes. It was a gift. It was an absolute gift that I continue to be grateful for the experience and what I learned.
Stay tuned and watch part 3 to learn about the happiness word for this interview.
Well, hello, Sylvia Torstein here at the Needle Point Museum. Look at this. I'm in my favorite section, the travel section. That's my happiness word here on Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness. But enough about me. Let's talk about Miss Kaye. Her health word, radiant. Yes, you are. Her wealth word, happiness. Who wouldn't want that in their pocket? And her happiness word, normal. Everyday, natural, that's the one. Who wouldn't be naturally happy? I know I am. I mean, sometimes, I entice it a little bit, I imbibe a little bit, but that's enough about me again. Enjoy this episode of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness. I'll see you on my channel at Sylvia Torstein. Love you.
Subscribe and click the link below to find out about bonus tracks and how to join our community.